Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear friends, welcome to NPTEL course on logistics and supply chain management. So in the last few sessions we discussed about strategic sourcing, and then we discussed how we can finalize different criteria so that we can pick our strategic partners, right. So these strategic partners can be down the supply chain, means forward supply chain, or can be in the backward supply chain, right. So anything if you are so outsourcing, so that means you are picking your external strategic partners, right. So here we will talk about specifically vendor rating, which is very important, and my personal experience in that is that when we talk about sourcing from different suppliers, so this becomes very important to continuously monitor their performance against some predefined set of criteria, right. So that if there is any lack, we can improve that with the passage of time, and we can provide, most importantly, the positive feedback to our suppliers, because eliminating suppliers based on any criterion like your price, quality, delivery, or anything services they are providing is not going to work for any manufacturer, any organization who is providing product and services, right. So such beautiful concept of vendor rating and topic. So we will cover what are the different criteria when we talk about vendor rating, why this is required, we will talk about some steps of vendor rating, some techniques, right. And I will specifically quote you one very practical example how we are using vendor rating format in the industries where we are evaluating our stakeholders, right, who are providing different types of material to your organization, right. And we will talk about one case study in that, and then we will conclude this session on vendor rating. So vendor rating is a formal evaluation system of all the vendors or suppliers who are providing you different components, right. So talking about formal evaluation, now this is fixed, that now we have fixed our external partners, we have picked our external partners. Now we are talking about the routine repetitive purchasing decisions, right. So when we are talking about repetitive purchasing decisions, obviously for particular component we might have fixed maybe 4, 5, 6 suppliers depending upon the so many different parameters, right. Whether you want few suppliers, you want many suppliers, you want to stick with only one supplier. So that depends upon the situation, depend upon the industry scenario, your product, what you are dealing with, or services, right. So basically when we are talking about evaluating vendor rating, so major point that come in our mind is related to, obviously the price is very important, then quality, whatever material they are supplying, and then delivery schedule, right. And services means any queries related to the material they are providing, or any complaints are coming, how they are handling, or any kind of services, how promptly they are responding to the queries of the manufacturing unit, right. So these are few important set of criteria which you continuously evolve, but these are not only the set of criteria, right. Let's talk about sometimes you may consider the industrial relation of the vendor, sometimes you may consider the financial position of the vendor, you may consider how they are innovating or renovating their products, designing different features, right, whatever components they are supplying to you, right. So these are broad scenario, right. You, depending upon whatever your requirements, you can keep evaluating your vendor, right. So the basic purpose is to assign a rating or score to each vendor. Now when we will evaluate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vendors, so that means we are prioritizing. based on whatever predetermined set of criteria is there, right. So this will help you to make the informed decisions when you will go for allocating the orders to different vendors. So that, let us say, why vendor rating we are doing, the very basic purpose is so that when we will go for allocating the orders to all those vendors, the maximum order should go to that vendor which is more strategic, giving us more strategic options. That means who is having the highest rating, right. So we should allocate the maximum order to that vendor. Okay. So obviously when you are monitoring and assessing the vendor performance, the one point is feedback to the supplier, which will help them to continuously improve or benchmark their practices with the best available practices in the industry, right. So this will also minimize the subjectivity in judgment. Subjectivity means then you in that way will take more informed decision that to whom you should pick as the first priority, maybe on quality, maybe on price, maybe whatever. Or if you are going with some, let us say from model A, now you are offering model B in the market with some other features, right. So which are those vendors from all those 5 vendors, you will pick 3 vendors, which are those vendors which will provide you material for your model B, right. So obviously you will pick those vendors you are performing fair enough on that on those parameters, right. So typically we are calculating different formula techniques, mathematical techniques we have to find out the weighted score against each vendor, and then we will say that this is how we can prioritize that, right. So this is important because it will ensure you the effective purchasing and procurement, right. And when you are dealing with those kind of industries like where you are heavily purchasing items in terms of volume, number, quantity, in terms of the value of the product, maybe quantity is not that high but the price is very high, or maybe you are talking about those sensitive products on which or components, raw material on which the complete functionality or safety related parameters are associated of your product, right. So in that way you need to evaluate the vendor. Usually we are evaluating your vendors on price, quality, what are the price they are offering, what are the quality they are offering, services level and delivery. But we will discuss about different scenario how and where these different set of criteria are important. So I just give you one very basic example. Let us say we are manufacturing any home appliances or automobile industry, we are using this component of screw, right. So this screw we are using and coming from our let us say 4 different vendors. Now obviously this is very small component. If you are talking about any industry, your home appliances, the value may be, if you are using 10 screw, maybe more than that also in one product. So value may not be more than 10 rupees, 15 rupees or somewhere like that. Okay, that depends upon the again the specification of the screw. So whenever you are receiving the lot, obviously what is the first step? The raw material is coming, and we have discussed that firstly it is going to, within that manufacturing organization, it is going to IQC. Please, you need to keep this basic structure in your mind so that through this session whatever I will refer, you can just relate with how it is happening in the real world. So IQC, what IQC will do? IQC based on certain sampling, maybe 10,000 lot you received, maybe they will pick 250 units, right. And then they will check those units whether that lot is okay or not okay. Now how you will define that lot is okay or not okay? Obviously you might have defined some dimension, that length of the screw should be this much, plus minus tolerance you will say, right. Then dia of this should be this much, again another dimension. Dia of the thread should be this much, right, another dimension. So this dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3, right. These are some of the few dimensions which are very important when you will talk about a very small component screw, right. Now you check 250 material, and this is not only, this is the quantitative method you checked, right. You recorded various quantitative parameters, dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then some qualitative measures will be there. Let us say qualitative measures, if extra material is there on that thread, that means that you can check, because this may be within this dimension is within limit, but still because extra kind of material is there, maybe during lathe operation, so that because of wear and tear of the tool or because of any technical reason, right. So some extra material is coming, that means this will destroy the hole where you are going to put this screw, right. So aesthetically you will check that extra material is coming on that, if shape of that screw is somewhere maybe deviated. So qualitative, you are checking some parameter, visual parameters we can say, right. Let us say some visual parameter you can check for color, for kind of this defect, then you can check for maybe flavor, depending if that is important for that industry. These are some of the qualitative parameters, right. Shape also you can observe, visually you can observe. So whenever we are making the vendor rating, we have one parameter, quantitative parameters we are evaluating, and then qualitative parameter. Now depending upon this sampling, you checked both the qualitative as well as quantitative parameters, whatever you have set for that particular component. And see, these if in one industry I am talking about, this vendor rating format will be different for all the suppliers, but if 4 suppliers are supplying the same component, then vendor rating format for all those 4 suppliers will be same. If this lot is okay, let us say if lot is okay, so what will happen, you will store this in the store department, from where it will go to the production floor, and production floor again the production will happen and finished good will be delivered. This is how it will happen, right. Not okay, if lot is not okay, what will happen, it will be supplied back to the vendor, right. So that means these 2 decisions, but third decision is also there. If it is not okay and maybe you are in urgency of that material, you cannot simply reject and send back to the vendor. So what you will pick the option at that time, maybe you will segregate at your own end, right, and whatever okay is there, you will move maybe to the store, and whatever is rejected, maybe you will move back to the not IQC, to the raw material supplier, right. So that means third option is segregation. Now you see where this vendor is connected. First this vendor is going to get all the information feedback from IQC, right. So any lot is rejected at IQC end means will be whole lot is rejected based on sampling, will be sent back to the raw material supplier, again they will process it, then again cost will be there. But if it is in between, that some rejection is there, but you can segregate and still run the production line, because if you will return back the lot, maybe your whole production line will stop. So what you will think, you will take the decision, let us segregate. So segregation cost, maybe 5 to 10 people are working for segregation, that debit note you will raise through your accounts department to that vendor, because it is the responsibility of the raw material supplier, because they are supposed to supply the okay raw material, right. So that cost of segregation will be bear by your vendor. Production line, then you start producing you accepted the lot and you start producing the product, but somewhere you see after using every time you are using 500 screws, somewhere around 10 to 15 screws you are getting, sometimes this cap is not there, sometimes threads are not there and you could not catch that in your sampling, sometimes this shape is maybe deviated, right. So during that you are now producing the process, this 0 hour rejection, that means you did not process that material, and it is before putting that screw, you just that person who was working on that stage, he just found that this screw is not okay, right. So based on that this is rejected. So this is 0 hour rejection, whatever in the end you will use that lot, let us say if 500 pieces are rejected, these will be sent back to the raw material supplier, and against that lot will be that debit note will be raised against that raw material supplier. So this complete picture you keep in mind, so that we can just quickly refer about that, right. So factor considered in vendor rating, quality is first. Now quality is, you need to meet all the specification, like specification, now you just keep that example in mind, your screw diameter, thread diameter, cap diameter, screw length, these are the specific, then some visual inspection you are doing, right. So that you need to stick to those dimensions, that means you are meeting the quality. So that rework or repair, the segregation we did, right, that is under rework or repair, right. So that should not happen. Price, the competitive pricing, what if you are buying from 4 different vendors, all are providing different rates, right. Now you will keep the lowest price vendor also and highest price vendor also, because we cannot eliminate the vendors, we need to develop the vendors where they can be more efficient, quality can be improved, right. So that this is one system. If our vendors will improve, our total productivity will automatically improve, right. So factors like will observe price stability, accuracy, means whether the prices are fluctuating from that particular vendor or they are providing the stable pricing strategy. Accuracy in billing, or if they are changing the price, any prior notice they are giving us. So these kind of things you are just recording with that particular vendor. Delivery, now we have 4 vendors, out of those 4, one is always struggling with the delivery, one person is dedicatedly calling him again and again, where is the lot, and then we are waiting, and that deviation, if he is saying within 5 days it will be delivered, always it is plus minus 3 days, right. So that means huge variability is there in that way. So that will force you, if that variability is there, lead time is high, will force you to keep extra inventory at your manufacturing unit, so that is extra cost, right. So this delivery issues are also very important. Services, then how I talked about that the services, what kind of services, if we are raising as manufacturer, you are raising some complaints, how quickly and effectively they are resolving that complaints, right, and then sending you back that we have done this correction, and then we are again supplying you the material. This is kind of services, right. So we'll see under each point what can be included. I'll show you one vendor rating format, there we'll see. Reliability, now vendor is, like I talked about, one vendor may be struggling with the delivery, right, but he is very good with the quality, so then you cannot eliminate that. Maybe one vendor is struggling with maintaining that quality, but you see that vendor may be very, very efficient, he is producing for so many other industry players. So that's why maybe because of frequently transition and changeover is happening, so quality somewhere is compromised, but he is giving you 5 to 10% lesser price than other vendors. Even then you cannot eliminate that. Obviously you will try to improve his quality as well, but yes, you cannot. So few vendors are striking on some few parameters and the others are striking on some other parameter. That's why this complete basket is required, where you are not relying only on one vendor. Innovation, how your vendor is ready for based on your whatever feedback you are providing, how promptly he is or proactively he is able to accept that feedback and ready to make those technical improvements, right. Where maybe if you will change the outdated technology, then maybe the productivity will improve, the price will get down, the quality will improve, right. So how quickly your vendor is ready to innovate and provide you the unique and differentiated product, right. So relationship means the effective communication, transparency, collaboration you are maintaining with your vendors, right. So that will only happen when you are saying, clearly providing your vendors the feedback and giving them the improvement measures where they can improve. During my industry experience, I have experienced this thing that whenever any manufacturer is coming up with new product or services, many times this happens that when you start purchasing the raw material to make the finished good, so then the very important feedback comes from the vendor side. If we will replace maybe the design of that component, maybe the material of that component, grading of that component, so then the overall quality, performance, durability will increase of that particular product whatever you are manufacturing. So that will only happen when you are maintaining the transparent relationship, communication is there. So need for vendor rating, obviously we need to evaluate the performance so that we can make the informed decision based on delivery, price, quality and services, and then we can place the order. It is not in the hand of only purchase department. That purchase department is raising the PO and maybe somewhere they are compromising with the quality or whatever subjectivity is there, they want to favor some vendor. That should not happen. So it should be very objective, right? Quantitatively you are recording all the parameters and then you are saying that this vendor should go the 70% order, the rest of the vendor should go 30% order, right? So this will also, evaluation will also help you to identify their strengths and weaknesses, right? Because over the time, if you are coming with one model, it will not last for more than 4, 5 or 10 years depending upon whatever product is, right? The nature of the industry, because in that way we have seen in some sessions we discussed the technological advancement is making the product life very shorter. So then product life is shorter, that means so continuously and repetitively you are changing the product design. How you will change the product design? With the collaboration of the suppliers only. So supplier development is the responsibility of the manufacturing unit who is buying product raw material from the supplier. It's not only simply you reject or accept the lot. So you need to train them, you need to share the best practices. Let's say as a manufacturing unit, you are a big unit, so you may be implementing some for inventory management, you are implementing inventory management software, right? Or warehousing management software, WMS you are using, right? Or you are implementing ERP system. How you can implement the same technology at your supplier end so that that efficiency which you are achieving by implementing that software, that particular vendor can achieve. So if he is efficient, obviously then you can negotiate the price, right? Risk mitigation, this will only happen when you know that this vendor is always struggling with the, let's say with the delivery. So plus minus 3 days he is taking. So I need to mitigate this risk. So I need to maintain that safety stock as per that. How I can take the proactive measures? If one vendor is struggling with maintaining the quality, how I can find the alternatives to meet that, right? Cost optimization, like if you are implementing inventory management system at your vendor end, right? So that overall cost can be of maintaining that inventory can be minimized. So that means that cost will lead to the increase in the margin of the overall supply chain, right? Overall supply chain is complete. One concept we have discussed of system concept, right? And reducing rework, that segregation should not happen, right? Performance benchmark, now because we are evaluating with respect to some criteria and those criteria we are always updating those criteria. So in that way we can benchmark those criteria and we can just tell our vendors that where they are lagging, right? And we can help them to define the path for the continuous improvement. Supplier relationship management, by evaluating the vendors and providing continuous feedback, transparent communication, and then they know that where they are standing, right? So that will help. If you are transparent with your vendors, you know that we are deciding this very objectively. So your vendor also know that this is objectively done, right? Let's say Ola is now, what is Ola is doing? They are the very big player while providing the taxi services, but whether they own any taxi, no, they are not owning. So their main stakeholders are the local taxi union or owners or drivers who are operating or providing the taxi services, right? So now this is very transparent with the driver, how you will behave with the whosoever is taking your services, your customers, how you are making them comfortable, you are maintaining the cleanliness in the vehicle, how you are taking the optimized route, how you are following the predefined route, whatever is shown in there, how you are charging, giving different options. You can pay through credit card, by scan, by mobile. So if you are accepting, if you are forcing your, sometimes this happens, if you are forcing your customer that you pay only by cash, right? Sometimes they do not turn on the AC. So these kind of things. So then you are rating the each driver, each ride you are rating. So now drivers know that if they are getting less feedback, so next time whenever there will be ride option or maybe any customer is placing the order, the nearby best car driver will take that order, right? Because that is their system is working on that distance minimum. If so many taxi drivers are there, who will get the order? Who is having the maximum feedback? That's why after completing the ride, they are usually asking customers to give them the best rating, right? So what are the vendor rating steps? You need to define the evaluation criteria very clearly, right? And I told you this may vary with the industry. Somewhere in industry maybe price is very important, where you are talking about the repetitive items, routine items, right? Where you need to be efficient. Your home appliances industry. Sometimes you are talking about quality is very important when you talk about the high status product, right? When you talk about Rolex, when you talk about BMW, sometimes you talk about the safety parameters are very important, then you don't want to compromise with safety, quality, right? Price can be increased, right? So then if you are supplying components, let's say to airline industry, right? Who is building the ship? So then there the importance of the same screw you are using in your desk, screw you are using in your chair, screw you are using in car, screw you are using in aeroplane. You just see how it is important when you are using the same screw in the aeroplane, right? So their safety importance parameters are very important. Once you have picked the criteria, you need to evaluate all the criteria, right? Let's say if you are buying shirt, what can be the different criteria to buy a shirt, right? There can be cost, then quality, then brand, maybe you are very particular about the brand, then comfortness, then maybe availability, right? These can, so many other things can be there. Now for me, maybe one person is very particular about the comfortness. So I will give the maximum weightage to, let's say 30% to comfortness. Then next criterion maybe I will give 20% to quality. Next maybe I will give maybe 15% to cost. Next maybe I will give 10% very brand consciousness, right? Likewise I will rate all, because all criteria are not equally important. But the other person maybe cost is very important, will give the 70% weightage. Then I will go with maybe rest 30%, then I will see the quality, maybe 10%, I will see the brand 5%, likewise the other person, right? That depends upon the person to person how they are doing that. So this assigning the weight to criteria will happen, will be done using that. Once criteria are set, now you will gather data, and from where you will gather the data? You are continuously recording the performance of the vendors through your IQC, from where you are checking the lot, through your production floor where 0 hour rejection is coming, through your accounting purchase department, how quickly they are accepting the order, how quickly they are processing the order, and when you are making the payments, and how they are settling the issues. So then you will record data on all those parameters. Once it is done, you will evaluate the performance based on whatever score, maybe 1 to 10. 1 to 10 score you calculated, but for all maybe you will not calculate 1 to 10. If cost is important, so you will weight little higher, then maybe rest is the quality, so then quality you will rate 1 to 8 scale, some other maybe brand you will rate maybe 1 to 5 scale, depending upon whatever weight you want to offer. Otherwise out of 10 you can give the score, and then each score you can multiply with their weightage. If cost is 10%, maybe 20%, so whatever score you are getting for cost you multiply by 0.20, right? And if you are giving quality maybe 15%, you multiply quality score maybe by 0.15. This is how you will find out the performance. and overall rating, you will sum up all the score for all vendors. V1, what is the vendor rating? V2, what is the vendor rating? B3, like this we will find out. Then we will review and validate, because for every lot you are receiving from that vendor, you are making those evaluations. So keep on checking, evaluating, right? So we'll give you continuous feedback, and then this result will be given back to the vendor, so that this should be very transparent, so that they can make the improvements, right? So Ola should share their feedback with the drivers as well, so that driver should know that this time he made this mistake, did not turn on the AC properly, so that's why he got little lesser ranking, right? Then use ratings for decision making. Next time Ola fed that in their system, so based on ranking, based on how near that taxi driver is, they will allot the rides to different taxi drivers. So what are different techniques? We will quickly go through these methods, how we can calculate the vendor rating. Categorical plan is first subjective method, where you say quality is one, delivery is another one, price is another one. Let's say 3 parameters are there. Quality maybe sub parameters are there, delivery sub parameters are there, price also sub parameters are there. So either good or satisfactory or poor, you will rate on each sub dimension, each sub parameter, right? This is categorical plan, but this is subjective method, right? Because if I am evaluating on quality, what is good for me may be very good for other person, or maybe satisfactory for other person, because my evaluation in whatever mindset I am having at that time, or maybe usually my evaluation is maybe sometimes we usually say we usually get this feedback as teacher that marking is very strict. The other person says that marking is very lenient, right? Same person evaluating the same question paper. Weighted plan, already I talked to you. Let's say quality, one person got out of 10, we are evaluating vendor 1, right? So vendor 1 got 8 on quality, delivery 7, price 5, right? So now I will provide the weightage. Quality is, let's say, 40% important. This delivery is, let's say, 35% important, and then rest is 0.25, I think. So that is important. So whatever score I will get out of this, by multiplying this, I will sum up this score. This is the vendor weighted point rating for vendor 1. Same way I will calculate the weighted point rating for vendor 2, 3, 4, right? Cost ratio plan. Cost ratio plan is calculated whatever is the cost occurred to acquire those services, right? So if I am talking about, let's say the example is the delivery cost is 5,000 rupees, and the total cost of acquiring that lot is 1 lakh rupees. So delivery cost ratio will be how much delivery cost is adding to the total cost. So this is 5,000 divided by 1 lakh will be 10%. That means whatever order we are placing, delivery cost is adding 10% into that. So we can see whether where is the benchmark. If other industries are managing somewhere around 7% delivery cost, that means we need to make efficient our delivery logistics distribution network. The inventory cost is, let's say, 20%. So other industries are maintaining somewhere around 12 to 13%. Why our inventory cost? Because we are keeping extra stock. So that cost to ratio you can maintain. Forced decision matrix. This is a kind of pairwise comparison matrix we are doing, where we are evaluating the set of criteria with respect to each other. Criteria 1, quality is important than delivery. So if it is so, we will assign weight 1, otherwise we will assign weight 0. This is just how you can assign weights, right? Service cost ratio. Particular services you are providing, like intangible services. So then you can, providing those extra services. See, if we are saying that any problem with using this product or services, you can call our customer care center. That means setting up customer care services is cost to me, right? So that is cost. This is how you can understand. So IBM quality rating system. So they are calculating the quality cost, means desired cost of inspection and actual cost, because always actual cost is inspection is higher, right? So how we can reduce the cost of inspection? I talked about in quality assurance, when we talked about quality tools, how quality is free. So the purpose of quality department is not to inspect, the purpose is to seize the whole inspection. No inspection should be there, because we want that it should be error free. So how we can error free? When there is no inspection is required, right? When you are error free. Well quality rating system, this is how many lots you are received and then how many are rejected, right? So based on that ratio you are defining that lot quality index. What is lot quality index? So how you are prioritizing different scenario. Let's say L1 is lot 1, you accepted as it is, no rejection is there. Then L2 number of lots rejected by sampling, but still you labeled, means you segregated, you run that lot in the production line, right? Number of lot rejected and dispositioned, reworked at the supplier end, segregated at the supplier end. Then lots rejected and returned back. So that means if you are returning back those components, that is cost, transportation cost, right? Once you received, again you send back, that transportation cost, storage cost, inspection cost, again they will transform it and then will maintain it, and then you are getting the repaired product. When I am paying for new product, why I should use the repaired one? So as this will grow, you can see here the cost priority is attached higher when you are sending back the material. That means the performance will be reduced. So this is what I will share with you, one quality format which in industry we are using. You can just go through. Okay, so here is one vendor rating format which I used to use when I was working as quality engineer. So in one of the organization, so you can see, so this is the vendor rating, right, by co-maker. Whosoever, co-maker means manufacturer. Vendor rating for particular vendor, number is defined, and then date of issue, vendor, co-vendor name. You can mention here the part name or code, part code, right, because different components, small components are there. If you are using 10 different types of screw, so that code will be different for all, right? So all that information will come, and then you can see the first one is quality. So quality means all the parameters related to quality. See, now quality description sheet, this is the sheet I was talking about, how you are developing the quality description sheet. You have defined the screw diameter, thread diameter, then the length of the screw, that is quality description sheet. And then visually you are inspecting, color you are inspecting, flavor you are inspecting, whatever dimension you are recording, that comes under your quality description sheet. Now based on that, either you will accept the lot or reject. Let's say because this is done for 25 lots, if all 25 lots are accepted, that means 0% rejected, that means that vendor will get 5 out of 5. If 2 lots are rejected, vendor will get 1 score, right? So this is one parameter. Then quality complaint note. So how many quality complaint notes you raised against that vendor? Let's say no quality complaint note to the vendor, that means 5 rating. No complaint against that vendor. So accordingly 1 complaint, 2 complaint, you will assign the rating. Then once you raise the quality complaint, how quickly you are getting the CAPA, corrective action and preventive action, and they have done the corrective measures and sent you the report. Let's say if your supplier is CAPA report he has submitted and no repetition in next 10 lots, that means he will get the 10 out of 10, right, because he quickly worked on that and improved that, right. So then you can see this is not fixed, it should be 10 only. For some product you may take 20, for some product you may take 5, right. So this is just one example. Detailed inspection report. If your vendor is sharing with you all the time detailed inspection report, means whatever lot you are inspecting, that means you will give 5. If he is not sharing, you can give 0. In intermediate level also you can assign. Vendor process maturity and setup. So how mature he is with the process. IQC, PQC, OQC means all quality measures they are taking, right. They have standardized their production process. So 5 means then if they are generating all these reports, they will get 5, right. Then vendor aligned to, this is related to Philips program because I was working with that. So there is Phillips Bow program, right? Under that program, if you are fully aligned, whatever measures they have suggested, you have also implemented, so then 5 points, right? If any means particular suggestion from any part, right? So rejection part on the line, this is what I was talking about, your 0 hour rejection. You started using the screw, but suddenly you realize that the cap is missing, the thread is missing, right? So then how many times, how much is the rejection? 100 units you are using, what is the rejection rate? Less than 0.1%, you will give 5 marks. Somewhere equal to less than 2%, you will give 3 marks, likewise. Now this is related to quality. Now next is price performance. So obviously price performance, how you will record? Whether that person has increased the price, maintained the same price, or lower down the price. If lower down the price by 5%, you will give 10, because maybe you have increased the lot quantity. If less than by 2%, you will give the 5 marks, right? If the person has increased the price, you will give the 0 marks, right? So this is how you will do the pricing, okay? So then delivery. So related to delivery, whether you are receiving all the deliveries within plus minus 5% deviation or 7% deviation, 1 or 2 days here and there, you will you can see the highest priority is given here to the delivery, right? 40 marks. If you are delivering on time, you will get 40 marks, right? So delivery is very important. Responsiveness, how quickly you are generating the report, kappa report, or how quickly you are responding to your, whatever complaint your manufacturer is raising, and how quickly you are, confirming the purchase order. Once the purchase order is accepted and then you are confirming it within 3 days, so that means you will get 3 marks, right? So here confirmation is not that important, but you can see here the delivery is very important, because if somewhere I will lack with the inventory, my all 500 people will sit down idle on the production line. So overall rating will calculate. If it is less than 50, you will say poor. If it is 80, 50 to 80, average. Anything more than 80 means good, right? So this is one format how you can go for the vendor rating. So same way you can develop the vendor rating as per your industry requirement, right? So then advantages of vendor rating, you can see minimize subjectivity in taking decisions. Obviously we discussed there is no power with the purchase department that if they want to favor some vendors, they cannot do that. Feedback from all area, from purchase department you are getting that whether they have raised the purchase price or not. Accounting, how many days they are giving us to settle down the payment, right? Then quality department, what are the quality features they are lagging, your vendors are lagging. Delivery, again store department will help us to find out that. So all these departments are giving you the feedback, and that feedback is given back to the vendors. So better communication will be there, overall control to the vendors, specific action. If you are struggling with maintaining the inventory, you will get that feedback, right? So continuously we will review those standards. So we can see that this vendor rating is so important. If you can optimize vendor, because from where your supply chain is originating, from the vendors. So first pillar is vendor only. So if you will manage that pillar very effectively, efficiently, there only the supply chain performance will start, right? We have included some qualitative, quantitative measures. So you can see this is not only the fixed criteria. You, depending upon your industry, you can work on those criteria. We have so many research papers. You're deciding the vendors, picking the vendors, vendor rating, multi-criteria decision making techniques are there. We are using methodology like analytical hierarchy process, analytical network process, TOPSIS to set the benchmark, and D-metal analysis, multi-criteria decision making tools we are using to evaluate the performance of the vendors, to find out where they are right now, what is the gap, how we can fill that gap, right? So this is all about vendor rating. These are some of the references you can go for further rating. So thank you very much.